My girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years. I know she's been wanting to get married and wanting for me to propose for a really long time. I've always put it off cause I never felt I was at the right spot for it, and I wanted to wait for the right time. Nevertheless, I know she's been waiting for it patiently for a long time, and if it was up to her, we would have gotten married years ago before I was even ready. Anyway, I figured since she's waited so long, I wanted to make it as perfect for her as possible. I chose the weekend of our 6th anniversary of our first date to propose to her. I was planning to have her come over to our house, I would have my mom and sister vacate for the night, and I would prepare a very nice dinner for her and would propose during that. I had written out this really long speech which I'd memorized after much practice because I wanted it to be perfect. Now my girlfriend has always wanted me to learn how to cook. I'm ashamed to say I've never properly learned how to cook, and I've never been really good at it. Since I live with my mother and sister at home, they always cook for me and they've never really needed me to cook. It's always one or the other of them, or both of them, doing cooking. At best, I'd just do washing up or chop up onions or something simple. I told them, look, I desperately need to learn how to cook a very nice meal. I told them she's always wanted me to learn how to cook. And it would be great if I could surprise her with this excellent dinner that I've made myself. She would never expect it from me. She would be thrilled. I told them I might just need some guidance. They weren't that enthusiastic first, they were like, we're really busy, we don't have time to teach a child how to cook. I told them it's really important, and to help them understand the gravity of the situation. I told them I was proposing tonight. They both went crazy and excited, like, oh my god, have you bought a ring yet? I showed them the ring, and my sister went flipping crazy, screaming, crying tears. I told them I was probably going to ask for their opinion on it anyway. And they were really enthralled and so excited and happy for me. My sister was literally crying and breathing heavily. They asked for details and everything about how I was going to propose. I recited the long speech I'd memorized. They told me it was beautiful, they love it, she'll love it. Again my sister was crying even. I told them so this is why I need to cook tonight. She's always wanted me to learn to cook, and if I make a nice meal for her, I want to make our night as magical as possible. My sister was like, no way, if you cook, you'll it up. Just let us cook for you, and say you did it. I said, no, it has to be me, it has to be me. It's really important that I do it, I don't want to deceive her. We reached a compromise and they said we can do it together. My mom supervised, my sister will take charge. And I'll basically just follow instructions and help her out. It turned out going really good, but how much I really contributed is questionable. They ended up taking way too much over me. Way more than I had planned. I had wanted to do it all myself with their guidance, but I ended up being just a helper while my sister did most of the work. I didn't want to let that spoil the night, so I just let it go. Then my girlfriend arrived at the door, and my mom and sister were getting ready to go out. When they greeted her, my mom was acting cool, polite, very poker face about it, I guess cause she's a mature adult. My sister on the other hand was acting like a jittery little schoolgirl, just jumping out. It was really cringy and awkward to watch. She kept telling my girlfriend how beautiful she looked tonight, how excited she was for her, how we were perfect for each other. The way she was smiling and acting too excited really gave it all away. She said, he's got something really special planned for you. I kept trying to push her out the door and telling her to shut up, but she just wouldn't, and she kept chatting to my girlfriend. I wanted to push her out, but my girlfriend told me I was being rude to her, and I should let the talk. I just sighed and knew it would end badly, but my sister kept being as unsubtle as possible. I really wish I could be a fly on the wall here tonight, you are so lucky, if only you knew. My girlfriend was then, is he going to propose? My sister didn't say yes, or no. She just gritted her teeth in a big smile like SND just started screaming and crying and hugging me, suffocating me. My mom was trying to pull my sister away, but she just started screaming, show her the ring. Show her the ring. I told her to seriously shut up, and that my mom was clearly waiting for her, but she kept shouting, show her the ring. I tried to explain to them that this really wasn't the way I had planned it. I wanted to do it when we were alone and I had a long speech planned. They both just wanted to see the ring. I said, can I at least say the speech? My sister was like, you should let him say it, It's a really beautiful speech. I started and I'd barely got 2 sentences in when she interrupted me and was like, actually it's too long, you can say it later, just show her the ring. I wanted to wait until we were alone so I could say the speech and then show the ring, but they were both literally screaming at me to show them. I told my sister she'd already seen it. She said she wanted to see it again, and my girlfriend told me I had to show it to her now. I showed them the ring again and they both started shouting and screaming. They literally both jumped on me and pinned me to the couch like a lion grappling a dying elephant, and ripped the ring from my hand like a lion tearing meat from its prey. I told them to get off, they were suffocating me. But they were both literally hugging me to death while screaming like hyenas into my ears. It was like WWE or something, it was unreal. I tried to pull away but they were both just hugging and kissing me and screaming into my ears, clawing at me and the ring like rabid animals, squeezing and suffocating me. My mother did nothing to help. She just stood there laughing as I went down. I realized they were mainly interested in the ring, so I let them have it and crawled away to the side of the couch where I could breathe properly. I felt the evening was ruined already. I had nearly just been clawed to death. I didn't know if my clothes were ripped. My hair was completely messed up. I had both their lipsticks smudged on my face from their dual hyena attack. And my clothes were a complete mess now. It was an infuriating mess of a situation and I felt gross. I just sat quietly there for at least 2 hours while my mother, girlfriend, and sister sat together looking at the ring, talking and chatting amongst themselves and acting like I wasn't there. The entire evening was ruined. My mom and sister were meant to be going out for the night. They didn't even leave once and were there the entire time. The food that I had made was getting cold. I told them dinner was getting cold. They all said they weren't hungry and just sat there looking at the ring, obsessing over it like they are Gollum or something. Me, the boyfriend, the groom, may have as well been invisible. They were all completely ignoring me, pretending like I wasn't there. I had planned this perfect evening between my girlfriend and I where I could propose. I'd been preparing it for such a long time. It was completely hijacked by my mother and sister. My sister spoiled it and didn't even feel bad about it. Worst of all, my girlfriend didn't even seem to mind. I told her this wasn't the evening I had in mind. She didn't care. She was too excited about the fact we're finally engaged. I didn't even get a chance to say my speech. She was like, "Don't worry, you can say it tomorrow. I'm too tired now." It really hurt my feelings. I don't think she understood how sad that made me feel. My girlfriend didn't even seem to care that it wasn't even really me who proposed to her, and the way my sister was acting, you'd think like she was the one getting married. This entire evening I'd planned out for so long. I'd been entirely cut out of it. Sidelined. Reduced to a spectator. After we finally did have the dinner, I asked my girlfriend if we could spend some time together in bed before she goes back home for the night. She was like, "We can't. Your mom and sister are here. We can't just leave them." I told her they weren't even meant to be here. They were meant to have gone out tonight, and they both were like, Yeah. Go upstairs, don't worry about us." I told her she really shouldn't worry about them. We should both just go upstairs and spend some time together. She was like, "No. It would feel too weird and awkward." Well, that bad so much. I felt like the entire night was ruined. I'd barely gotten anything out of it. I didn't even spend any time with my girlfriend. My sister completely spoiled and ruined everything. The entire night was hijacked. I tried to explain to my girlfriend why everything that had happened, including her own behavior and acceptance of it, really bothered me. She didn't seem to understand and just brushed it aside. I explained to my mom, and she sort of understood and was apologetic, but tried to dump most of the blame on my sister. My sister was still in an excited, giddy mood. I asked her what was wrong with her. She said nothing. I told her she'd ruined the entire night and she acted like a 12-year-old or a clown. She got offended and denied it. She refused to see what she'd done wrong and how she'd ruined everything. I don't understand her behavior at all or why she would even act that way. I'm kind of hurt and offended by everything that's happened and the way they reacted to it. Do I have the right to feel this way? Should I just let it go and move on, or is there something I can do so that my grievances don't go unaddressed and ignored? I am 18 years old male. I'm a high school senior and proposal season is currently in full swing. I was in my AP Chem class when suddenly an entourage of people entered my classroom with a disabled girl. She has cerebral palsy, that I know. I first saw the posters and the bouquet of flowers she was holding and thought,
Aww.
that's sweet of her. Then they revealed the posters and I read my name and was completely taken aback. I literally almost had an anxiety attack. I didn't know what to say at all, and the entire class was cheering and people even started filming. I was straight up frozen for a minute and I could feel myself burning up with embarrassment. Of course I wanted to say no, but since it was so public and everyone was waiting for me to say yes, I did and hugged her. Everyone clapped, including the teacher, and I was mortified. One of my buddies asked me if I was okay afterwards, since apparently I looked like I was gonna burst into tears, and I told him I literally did not expect that at all, and I didn't want to say yes. He suggested that I go find her after school or something and explain that to her, and I agreed. Now, this girl is really nice. We had a class together last year and sat next to each other for a majority of it and talked quite a lot. I would say we were friends then, but we haven't spoken more than 2 times this school year, so we've definitely drifted apart. That's why I was completely shocked when she sprung the prom asking on me. Usually, people have their friends make sure that the other is at least aware before doing the asking to prevent situations like this. I was contemplating if I should just bite the bullet and go with her, but decided I just couldn't because it is my senior year prom and I was already starting to plan my asking. There's this girl that I've liked for a couple of months now, and I recently heard from my friends that she likes me back, so I was gonna ask her. So I ended up going to the special ed classroom after school where I found her and asked if I could speak to her outside. I told her everything and how I really appreciated the gesture. But I was already planning on asking my crush to prom, and she was crushed. She started crying really loudly and asked me why I couldn't have just said no, and I said that I didn't want to embarrass the two of us in front of all those people. At this point, one of her aides came out to check on us since she could hear the crying, and the girl told her aide what happened and she straight up glared at me and said, "That's not okay." Now I feel like absolute shit. I'm a professional ballet dancer for a living, but I also do some modeling in my spare time. Last weekend, I was doing a latex shoot. Before anybody says anything, it wasn't anything fetish-wise. It was just a shoot that called for wearing more uncommon types of fabrics. My outfit was a black full-body catsuit, so think of a skin-tight garment that covers from neck to toe, including gloves. If you've ever put on a wetsuit, then you can probably imagine how much of a pain it is. It's a pretty in-depth process that involves lots of baby powder, a lot of sweat, and some less than ladylike stances. Dressing usually takes anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes start to finish. I always dread it, but can't argue with the results. Anyway, my boyfriend was in my dressing room as I was getting changed. He doesn't always come along for shoots, but I needed him that day because my car is being repaired and we needed to go somewhere afterwards. His one kinda annoying thing is that he talks to me while I'm getting changed, even though I very politely asked him to let me do it in peace. If I'm just putting on a dress or something less complicated, it's not a problem. But with latex, you have to concentrate, seriously. My facial expression is pretty similar to when I'm doing heavy leg presses or squats at the gym, so that the garment slips on correctly and, more importantly, you don't rip it. It's very easy to tear if you're not careful. And a full-body catsuit can cost upwards of $700 to $800 minimum. So as I'm struggling, may have been on the floor on my back with my feet up on a chair, pushing my butt up to get the garment over my hips, he won't stop talking. "Come on, girl, you got this. Do you want help? I don't think you put on enough baby powder. Babe, you got this, get that big ass in there." And I politely asked him several times to just let me concentrate. He responds by saying, "Relax, I'm just trying to help," before patting me on the butt. I'd had enough. I demanded he stand outside because he was being super distracting and I couldn't afford to rip the garment. I didn't ask him to help because there's a technique to getting latex on and he doesn't have it. He got all pissy and was like, "Whatever, maybe you need a bigger size anyway," before leaving the shoot completely and taking the car. I had to get an Uber home after the shoot. On one hand, I was getting super frustrated, I was hot and sweaty, and combined with my kinda short temper, I was getting pissed off that I couldn't get the suit on. On the other hand, I asked him multiple times not to comment or distract me. And I never indicated that I was in the mood to be touched.